Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Four Leaf Whiskey. I am super excited for this week. We've got three people who did basically it's a whiskey lovers bucket list trip. They went to Ireland, got on a bus, had a bus drive them around Ireland for a little over a week, visiting all these distilleries, got backstage access to all these distilleries, probably tasted whiskey that we will never, ever have access to in our lifetimes. So I am really, really excited for them to tell you about it because there's another whiskey bus trip coming up. So if anybody hears their story and is interested, you can let them. I'll tell you how to find out about it. Want to say hi to all you folks that got here. Big Vic was the first one who got in here early. Cheers, Vic. It's good to see you. Sugar Kitty, thank you guys for joining me today. John Krantz, it's good to see you. Top Dog, I think I saw you last night it was earlier today on the Average Drinker stream. Christine Vasco, cheers, Christine, fellow Ohioan. Katie Turk, cheers. If one of my mods would drop the link to Katie and Ethan's new stream, it is really fun to watch. I've really enjoyed watching them. Everybody sub. James Morgan, how are you doing? Oh, Burns Irish Pub in the house. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch my broadcast from last Sunday, Amy was here. Amy showed us her home Irish pub, which puts, I know most of the Irish pubs in Columbus to shame, I tell you. It's freaking amazing. Please make sure you hit the like on your way in. That helps the YouTube algorithm a whole lot. Tell me what you're drinking in chat, and I'm going to bring my guests on. So first we have Bryan. Cheers, Bryan.
Hello.
And we have Tony. Cheers, Tony.
Cheers.
And Jeff.
Hey.
So what are you guys all drinking? I am starting with, this is one of my go-to bottles. This is Hinch Doublewood 5-year. So what are you guys drinking? Let's start with Bryan. Hold on, let me a second here.
Yep. This was a whiskey bus exclusive from Bushmills that we tapped in the warehouse, and they gave us samples.
So you got to drink that from the cask in the warehouse?
Yes. Yep.
Not jealous at all. Hey, Bryan, thank you for joining us tonight, Bryan. And Adam, Mr. Whiskey Shits. So when you're done here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, go over and check out Livewire Whiskey. Livewire is going to have a blind flight matchup tonight with Mike Stahl versus Sean from Whiskey Wars. So that's going to be really, really interesting. I'm excited to watch that one. All right, Tony. Bryan's setting the bar pretty flipping high. So let me see what you're doing.
Unfortunately, so I hadn't opened it yet. So this is an excuse for me to open up.
So you're drinking the same one?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's sat on my shelf for several months, and luckily I get to try it tonight, and it's very good. So
Peer pressure.
I don't taste the rum as much, and but it's excellent. It doesn't even feel like 54%. So to me, it's very good.
Cheers, Paul, Whiskey Food Dude. It's good to see you. Isaiah, thank you for joining tonight. And my other fellow Ohioan in the house, Jeffrey Wack. Make sure you subscribe to Hello Again Whiskey Friends. Jeffrey put the flight together tonight that Mike and Sean are going to be battling with. So, all right, Jeff, you're up. What are you having tonight?
I am going to be opening a Dunbill's 10 that just came back from California about a month ago.
Can you hold that up again?
Oop.
They have one of the most beautiful bottles.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, where we got another person that we all recognize in here, John.
Hey, John.
Thanks, John, for joining us tonight.
John.
Drum Shambo single pot still. I have a bottle of that behind me. All right, so you guys were on this trip. So how many days was it, and how many distilleries did you get to visit? Or I guess how many distilleries did you interact with? Because I know that you interacted with Cologne, but you couldn't visit it because I don't even think you could get a bus up to Cologne up there in the mountains.
No, you couldn't.
It's a tiny, teeny little road up in the mountains. Yeah. So how
you
many
could get up there,
distilleries
but you
did
never
you
get out.
interact with?
Yeah. So I'd have to think. 10? Are we on 10?
Yeah, I think it's around 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
And was it 8 days?
yeah, well, it depends on when you showed up. I think Jeff actually showed up a day early to do things. If you showed up on the day it started, it would have been a full 7,
Cheers,
and
Mark.
8 was your way back home. So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so 8 different distilleries. So, and I think that's something most people, I mean, they've been listening to me spout off for almost a year now. So they're well aware that there's more distilleries in Ireland.
Right.
But I don't think they can realize that, yeah, there's a lot more. You can actually visit while you're over there.
Uh-huh.
So you guys got the big treat, got the full treatment. So day one, where did you start? Did you start in Dublin?
Yeah. So arrival day, everybody came in on different flights. Some came in that day, some were there already. And it was put together by Barry and Anthony Sheehy.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony was actually at the airport greeting everybody who flew in on their various flights. Had this shirt on, so you knew who he was. Not that you wouldn't know who he was anyway.
Yeah, he's
Pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious and easy to spot. We're
And
all
he gathered folks and put us on taxis to go to the first hotel. Barry sitting there with a grin on his face in the lobby, greeting everybody as we arrive. And overnight flight for most people, you're
pretty tired after that flight.
So they gave us a little time to freshen up, but nobody really wanted to. Most of us went to the next door pub or went searching.
You went to the pub right away, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what pub did you end up at? Because you guys hit a lot of pubs while you were there too. You hit a lot of.
I don't even. What was the name of the one right next to the hotel? Does anybody remember? It was the old Powers.
Captain's Bar.
If you remember the name of the pub.
I don't remember.
Just got it right.
Yeah, it was the Captain's Pub, Captain's Bar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then you was on your own to do whatever you wanted to do, and then that night we went to Dublin Liberties for like a welcome tour, and here's what's going to happen, and your first taste of things, and yeah.
That's one that I'm excited to see. It's it's like a 400-year-old building they just renovated.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, just gorgeous. Yep. And we were all sort of groggy and droopy, and their brand ambassador Stephanie Shin was just.
Stephanie's amazing. She's a ball of energy.
All the energy you needed to get ready. I mean, everybody got hyped with her, so we were all ready to go after that.
She was all finger guns.
So Keith J from MA has a question that you three definitely would be well versed to answer. His central liquor store is doing a tasting with someone from the distillery. I'm guessing it's Sarah.
Nice.
Sarah has been in the U.S., I believe.
Yeah.
So I would just guess that's who it is. What do you think about McConnell's? Obviously, they have 2 expressions in the U.S., the regular and the sherry.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
I'm a big fan of the original, the green label, I guess I would call it. I think it's, for the price, just beautiful. The red label one is, I think they call it a sherry cask or a sherry finish, something like that.
Yeah, I moved it to where it's out of reach now, so I can just behind me and grab it.
And it's you got to be ready for some sweetness on that one.
Right.
It is sweet.
It's raisins in a glass to me.
Yeah, agreed.
So Jeffrey says that this is a dream trip for him, Ireland and Scotland. Yeah, it's amazing country. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
So Tony, those first few days, what was your favorite kind of moment? Because you're in Dublin, you're off the plane, they're already dragging you to your first distillery into the pub.
Yeah. So I was with my wife, so we kind of slow played everything, and then the next day was, one of the highlights for my trip was this train ride. And drinking on
I forgot about the train. You guys got a train ride for whiskey as well.
And the windows were open, and we were drinking pretty much, partaking in different spirits the whole way there and back. And just to be on that kind of setup and have that organized for you. I mean, you can't. And it was a quick train, and the air was blowing, and the music was playing from the older gentlemen in their oh gosh,
Their pipe.
Was that Dave?
pipe. Yes. So it was.
Yeah.
Even for my wife, who doesn't drink a lot of whiskey, she really enjoyed that part of the trip. So
Was that from Dublin to Cork, or where was that?
Kilkenny.
Kenny.
Dublin to Kilkenny, or
Right.
Yep.
okay. So yeah, if you're going, those of you in chat, if you're headed off to Ireland, there is a train that you can take from Dublin to Kilkenny and back, or is it? I don't know if is it round trip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I mean, I'd be fine being dumped off in Kilkenny, to be honest, but
Right.
not everybody would. But yeah, and it's a whiskey train.
Yeah. Whiskey on the Tracks.
Whiskey on the Tracks.
Run
Yeah.
by David
I
O'Connell.
completely forgot about that till you said that.
Right. So, and then once we got there, I mean, there was some time to take pictures and to get your feet wet, looking around, or going to some local places to search for different spirits. And then we had a lunch there, and I mean, and then it was the whole line of different redbreasts. So it was like 12, 15, 21 that I never had a lot of. So, I mean, I'm just looking at my pictures. Everything comes back when you start looking at the pictures. So
Troy is saying, and the parade. Was there a parade?
yes.
So yeah.
Where they basically played it while we were drinking on the train, but then as we left and we disembarked, so it was multiple times that they were playing constantly. these older gentlemen with their
So when we left, the lunch was at Langton's Hotel in Kilkenny,
Right.
and the tasting was led by Ger.
By Jer Garland from
Right.
Middleton.
Right. So
That's kind of a big name.
That's a big deal.
Not, yeah.
and when we left there, the old gentlemen in their
Cheers,
full
Mike.
regalia led us out from Langton's back to the train and basically blocked off the roads. I mean, they marched through Kilkenny to get us back to the train.
Wow.
Oh.
I remember, and now that you said the train, I remember seeing your pictures, and you walked up and there was like a red carpet and like the velvet ropes, like it was the Oscars to keep
Right.
keep the riffraff back.
That's right.
It's pretty cool.
Cheers, David Bates. Okay, so you have your whiskey on the tracks. You got to meet Jer Garland, who was very influential with kind of big name with Middleton. So where did you go at? So now you've done that. You've done Dublin Liberties. Where'd you guys go to next?
Was this Palace Bar night?
I believe it was. Yeah.
Jeff, you can tell us about Palace Bar.
Because
Because I don't remember a lot about that.
might have been a little bit of drinking at the Palace Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our tastings led, and Fanon was there and put on quite the show.
So Fanon O'Connor, who is Irish whiskey historian and author, who wrote A Glass Apart, which is a book, the book on Irish single pot still whiskey. That one that I'm guessing every single person on screen owns a copy of.
Yep. I have the second edition with the tiny print, so it's hard to read.
That's what
I have the tiny print one. Okay, so you're at the pub with Fanon, and I imagine Fanon, let me tell you, Fanon, a wealth of information. He could talk his way until that pub closes and opens the next day.
He did a lot of talking, a lot of leading.
What did we? Was it
Cheers,
for
Jeff.
Cullen? I think we tasted it for Cullen 20, and then it was a Redbreast that was theirs? Was it the
The
Palace?
Palace Bar Redbreast, they do have one.
Yeah.
They have a single cask. Yeah.
And those were just free. I mean, part of being
Well,
on the bus.
You
Yeah,
just
part
got
of
to try,
part of
the Palace Bar single cask and a 20-year for Cullen for free. No special treatment. Everybody gets that. Yeah.
Not at all. And we were upstairs, and we sort of cordoned off the whole upstairs of the Palace Bar.
Troy says Dunville's too. So you got to try Dunville's as well?
We'll get there, Troy.
Yeah, I don't remember if the for Cullen was a Palace Bar release, or if that was like the 5 Elements.
I can't remember.
That 5 Elements, yeah, they've done a couple of those. No, that was still under Noel Sweeney, right?
Yeah, I want to think the Forcullen might even have been a Palace Bar.
Cheers, Steve.
I'm sure I've got pictures of the bottle somewhere.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to look through all my pictures on my phone.
Well, and I have a feeling that week was probably a blur after all the whiskey.
There was a lot going on that week. Yeah.
Okay, so you finally made it back to your hotel eventually after Palace Bar. So once you pulled out of Dublin, where did you head to?
Oh, we weren't done yet.
No, you weren't done in Dublin. So did you go to?
That was only
Teeling
day 2. Yeah, day 3 was Teeling and the Jameson Bow Street.
Yeah. So Teeling, we get there at 11 in the morning and do a tour with Alex Chasko and Robert Caldwell. And then they sit us down in a big private room.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting in front of us was it 6 or 8? Do you guys remember? Anyway.
Yeah, I think it was 6.
6. Cask strength, various finishes.
I remember your pictures from that.
And they wanted our take because none of them had ever been released. They wanted our tasting notes. They wanted to see what us regular people thought about them. It was incredible.
Wow.
And then they took us and fed us lunch and gave us the best. And I know everybody has their own favorite Irish coffees, but if you ever can get to Teeling, wow, that Irish coffee is incredible.
Or my dog is like giant head coming in from the side there.
Yeah, congratulations on the new dog.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been around a while.
Oh, maybe I just got old pictures from Facebook.
Yeah, I got him 5 years ago yesterday.
Oh, I don't know why then I got those pictures.
Yeah, they just it was one of those memory things that they like to do to you. 6 cask strength before lunch is a party.
Yeah, that was a surprise for sure.
I do remember. I think it was you guys sending us messages like 6 cask strength whiskeys. Pray for me.
It's like holy cow. Yeah.
Well, and then they gave us more at their bar part too.
Yeah, and then they gave you more. So on top of that, you got to try more.
2 more. Yep.
Yeah, 2 more. And were those releases that they have, or were the other things where you guys are out busting into a cask?
One was the Black Pit's birthday bottling that I think just came out, and I don't remember what the other one was. Yeah.
Jeff says they gave you 2 more.
Jeff might remember. Yeah, Spencer.
Yo, East Coast Tony. Hey, Carolyn. Thank you for joining us. Was it their own or sourced from Teeling?
So I believe all of the cast strength ones would have been still their source stuff. Yeah. But like the Black Picks would have been theirs. I don't remember what the other one was now. That we tried after the tasting. I don't remember. Yeah.
No, we were trying to pace ourselves because we had to go to Jameson.
Yeah.
Like an hour later.
So they load you up with this cask strength Teeling, and then like, all right, well, nice, that's good for pre-gaming. So now you're off to Jameson. So you went to Jameson Bow Street or Jameson in Cork?
Bow Street.
Bow Street. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
we did kind of the standard tour, but then Jer was there again and brought a single cask bottle with no real markings on it. It was just one that he brought from Middleton, the Middleton single cask.
And drinking some unnamed ancient cask from Middleton.
Yeah,
with Jer Garland.
Yeah,
nothing.
Right. And then he led us on a tour of the surroundings to kind of point out what this was back when Bow Street was Bow Street.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Tony says, you guys are slacking. It was a 27-year-old.
Yeah, that cast, the cast sample that Jared brought was, it's probably one of the ones you get from the
that's an old one, yeah.
The Middleton cast circle type of thing.
Wow. So how long were you at Jameson?
I think a couple hours probably. By the time we walked around, we did a small walk around the distillery area.
Okay, so that's nice. They give you time to kind of explore Dublin a little bit.
Yeah. And then that we get back, and that night we go into. Well, that was the Temple Bar night.
Temple Bar night.
Ask
Okay, that
Sean.
sounds like there's some stories there when you can't even say Temple Bar night without chuckling.
Oh, we're just. I mean, Troy's here in the chat, so
Right.
Troy made them happy.
Yeah.
And so did I, actually.
We got some special things. Lots of special.
Things that are
Were these the pictures of bar tabs that I saw?
probably.
Okay, then yeah, that was a good night for them.
And they did a tasting for us too across the street of one of their. I think it was their 14.
Yeah.
Before we went over to the actual Temple Bar whiskey snug area.
I think it was a 14-year Melba
Yeah.
cat.
Troy says, "Don't even try to put the blame on him. All y'all were making it a very nice night for Temple Bar."
Yeah, Temple Bar did well.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want to get off on another subject, but I mean, some of their other things they had with it were completely the prices for Octomore and Black Art and Stag were just crazy. So, I mean, we had to educate them, and I don't want to get off on that subject, but it was just, I mean, after so much of Irish whiskey, it's good to kind of change things up, and then we were trying to coerce Barry into trying.
That's definitely changing it up, going from Irish whiskey to Octomore.
Right. But the prices, I mean, you couldn't get those even in the U.S. So it was, and then having Barry try some of this stuff, I mean, it was entertaining. So on top of just all the other amazing things that you could try there and buy there. So
So Steve has a question, and I'm not even sure I could answer it because honestly, everywhere you go in Dublin, they know how to pull a pint better than anywhere here.
Yeah. I see that, Steve, and I did so much whiskey. I honestly didn't do much but I did at Banker's Bar, which we decided to close down after Temple Bar.
So you closed down Temple Bar, then you went to, I'm assuming it was off license, and closed it down.
Well, Temple Bar, we just sort of all said, some people were, getting tired and want to leave. And Barry said, okay, well, let's gather, and whoever wants to go back, the buses.
So he took you probably to more of like a locals kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There were 6 or 8 of us that were there, and that was a good pint. So Jeff was there.
Okay. So you're only on day 2. You've already gone to
2 or 3.
It was that
day. We're starting day. Okay. Yeah. Day 2 or 3.
See, that's what happened.
You've already been to Dublin Liberties. You've already been on a train. You've been to Teeling. You've been to Jameson. You've been to Palace Bar. You've been to Temple Bar, and you're only on day 3. Mm-hmm. So where did you go to next?
Bus to.
I gotta look at my phone.
Bus to Slane, right?
Yeah. So
Slane Castle.
Day 4 is when we actually left Dublin and started the moving around on the bus.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys all went to Slane Castle.
Yeah, got a tour of the actual castle and of the distillery, and then they did 4 tastings for us on.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize Slane had a whole lot of different whiskey. I think most of us are just familiar with the regular Slane Irish whiskey that we see on our shelves over here.
Right. But they do have, and again, led by the master distiller, whose name escapes me right now, but. Yeah,
and Jeff says that's when you stopped and randomly found Gold Spot because you guys were there not long after Gold Spot released.
Yeah.
That would have been after that. Yeah, so that's when we found the Gold Spot as we were headed up to Northern Ireland.
So they went over all the concerts that have happened at Slane Castle.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
And I'm excited to see. It looks like it looks like they were bringing that back. Is that right?
That's what they said.
They weren't announcing who's going to play it, but yeah, they're the
I think they haven't. I thought it was Harry Styles, but I could be wrong.
That's what I.
Or at least at the time they weren't saying who it was. They might have said who it is by now.
I think it just released. So I'm pouring my second pour, which hopefully the camera will adjust. This is wrong way. This is the Ado. And this is the first collaboration from 2 distilleries one in Northern Ireland, one in the Republic of Ireland. And this is a poitín that they came together on. It just arrived.
I'm joining you, but it's something very different than the folks.
Oh, hold that up. You have a very good one. So you have Cologne 6-year-old rum and raisin batch 5.
Very good.
That's a good one. All right, Bryan, what you got up there?
That's the 2 stacks.
Bonnie Port.
And we're coming up to meeting them, so I figured this would be a good time to pour this one. So.
Okay, so
you're always thinking ahead.
So you've left Slane, and now it sounds like you're headed to Newry to 2 stacks.
Yep.
So
So we went to the hotel.
Yes. In Dundalk.
Right.
Yes. Right.
And then the plan that night was to go to JJ Sheehy's.
Correct.
That's where my pictures start back again.
Yes. Dundalk. Right. So I think they had a dinner for us. Was that the dinner night?
Yeah. Dinner
so
at the hotel.
Gave us a private dinner. I've got there's the menu that they did for us from the rooftop at the Crown Plaza in Dundalk, just because we were on the whiskey bus. So
hold on there. Wow.
Yeah, they went all out. And then we went to Anthony opened a pub not long before the whiskey bus. Anthony Sheehy. It's named JJ Sheehy's after his 2 children, whose first names start with J. And it was a session. They had a band. I mean, Anthony and his son were pouring, and then the gentleman from Cologne and 2 Stacks show up with their own batches of things to both.
So Brendan Cardy and Liam Brogan.
Yep.
And Shane McCarthy and
Shane was there. Shane brought one of their giant bottles and was walking around.
The big one, yeah.
Yeah, just pouring it for people. So
wow.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, 2 Stacks released this bottle. I believe it's called the big one, and it's this tall. It's a giant, massive bottle. Oh well, hey, somebody happens to have one. Is that what you're getting?
I don't have the big one.
Oh, you have a different
one. Okay.
This is just the cast strength. So
I like the cast strength. The cast strength is a flipping bargain.
Yeah.
So they have a bottle this big, and I think you guys killed that bottle.
I think he might have gone home with a little bit, but
right.
3 liters.
Yeah.
Most of it. Yeah, most of it was gone.
On top of
you literally got to party at the pub with the owners and master distillers of 2 Stacks in Cologne.
Correct.
Right.
Hanging at the pub for the night.
With brought their own stuff. Yep.
So Jim Pinch Hitter Whiskey Lounge. If you're not following Jim, please do it. His stream is such a good time. And he calls 2 Stacks cast strength Irish jet fuel because it will sneak up on you.
Yes, it will. Yep.
This one's 130, and I mean, I know there's lots of bourbon and Scotch drinkers, but I mean, it's very good. And
I slipped that into a blind here with another channel recently, and she guessed the ABV on that at about 40-45%. She said that she was blown away when she realized how
it doesn't not taste like that.
No, it does not. No, it does not. So you guys are hanging in the pub with 2 Stacks, and you're getting a drink. I don't even think that big one had been released yet.
It had not.
No, it had not.
It actually had a label on it. He put a label on it. That was a 700 ml label.
Just to have a label on it.
They didn't have the labels for the 3 liter.
Now, did you get to try the new, what my pour next is going to be the 2 Stacks, the new Polaris?
No, we did not get to try that.
Did not get to try it. Okay.
But I mean, it was a real authentic Irish pub, sitting there drinking, listening to music. And I mean,
cheers for one.
It was an amazing night where we drank.
It's one of those you just can't put it into words. It's just
you can't duplicate it.
It was a session.
No, I can't think of a time when you've got 2 very well respected brands of Irish whiskey in Ireland, and you're just hanging out at the pub with the people who literally own it and make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And just shoot your shit. I mean,
they're the most beautiful people. They're the most wonderful humans you'll ever meet. They're just happy to have us there, and we're in awe of them, and they're just happy to be there. And it just makes for a great experience.
Yeah, it was.
I know I try very hardly not to fangirl, like, oh my God, it's Brendan.
Well, I had been texting Shane and Brendan or DMing them and said, here's what we're doing, and what are you bringing? And they said, oh, we thought we'd bring one of each. And I said, no, you don't understand. Bring whatever you want to bring. Test on us. Bring swags. They bought hats.
Right. Yeah, you can buy hats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We bought them out of everything. I mean, they brought Chloe brought the coffee liqueur, and that lasted.
Oh, the Gloria. That one is
that
nice.
lasted about 5 minutes. Once people tasted it, it was all gone. So, yeah. So they were thrilled to have.
So, yeah, Troy brings up a good point. So I'm assuming that you walked into Sheehy's pub, and even aside from the stuff that was brought for you to taste, I'm guessing his whiskey selection's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, name it, he's got it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So for those in chat who might not know, Anthony Sheehy runs Irish Whiskey Auctions site that many of us get sucked into every month, and actually go as far as messaging each other to make sure we're not outbidding each other on things. Like, hey, here's what I'm going for, just so yeah. I got a box coming this week. So
Nice.
Super, super wonderful gentleman.
Yeah, he had multiple Dunvilles that you're not going to see over here. And then
Cheers, IC86.
I had an old Cumber.
Legit old Cumber and the newer old Cumber.
Yeah, I had one of the older bottles, so I remember taking a picture of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
We finished it off, a couple of us, but I mean,
Yep.
I had
Hey,
a lot of that in my
thank you
life.
for joining us.
It was those little experiences that you can have just even with a simple pour of something that you might never get the opportunity. So
Cheers, Paul. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah. And I
Okay,
think
so you guys got to try a lot of the Killoan and the two stacks. Where did you go from there?
So for me, this was the night where I just kept going.
yeah, I got in a lot of trouble this night.
So we
I
ended up.
kind of hear that the Sheehy's night got kind of crazy.
They called buses to get us back, little buses, vans to get us back because it was so late. The bus driver wasn't going to come back out. And I remember sitting in the back of our bus. Barry was in our bus, but he put his backpack. I went with my son, between my son and I, and he kept darting his eyes back, making sure. And I said, "What do you got in here?" "Oh, nothing." We got back to the hotel at the Crown, and we just hung out in the lobby drinking. Well, he had a Napo 21 that he pulled out of his backpack and said, "Okay, here we go. Let's go."
Because everybody just wanders around Ireland with a Napo 21 in their backpack.
Yep. So that night, I mean, some people were there, and we had
Cheers, E-Man.
the one worker at the front. Tony, I think you stayed up. Just started pouring Guinness for everybody. I think Troy was the one who got that to occur, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're just it's 3 a.m, and they're bringing pints to us in the lobby. So yeah.
Top of the Napo 21. Yeah. That was.
The next morning was rough for a lot of us. This
plastic cups. Oh, the struggle. The struggle is real, Troy.
Yeah. The next morning was where we had to stop at a Irish convenience store and pick up Lucozade, which is Gatorade or Powerade or whatever.
There's just a lot more sugar in it.
There's a lot more sugar, and it's
more sugar than Gatorade.
Don't shake it, because I did.
Oh, so you found out it was carbonated the hard way.
The hard way. But Troy, Tony, did you go in with Troy to get the Jameson 15 and the Gold Spot at the...
I didn't buy a lot in there, but there were lots of people
Jeff went in. Jeff got a box of Gold Spot, I think.
No, I got a box. I got a Gold Spot, and I took the box too because that's just what I do.
Yes, that was just on the road. We a stop at a convenience store, and they had this liquor store that had Jameson 15 and the Gold Spot and whatever.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then
so where did you go once you guys all got some of the hangover? It sounds like under control. Where did you head off to next?
Hinch.
Where was your next stop?
Hinch
Distillery.
Yep. What a beautiful setup they have there. They've crafted the buildings around a huge courtyard. And you can see the pot stills. It's all glass looking into the building that houses the pot stills.
Cheers, David. Thank you for joining.
And they had Irish dancers meet us as we arrived.
Yep.
And then took us and had a lunch for us, but we were running behind, so we couldn't eat all the lunch. But they must have a chef there who is, because what we could taste of their food, if you have the chance, Hinch is top notch food wise and whiskey wise, but food wise, wow.
And Hinch is in County Down. How far from Belfast or Newry? It's probably a little closer to Belfast, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I thought. No, it looks like it's a little closer to Belfast.
The problem with Hinch was we were a little bit rushed because we had to go to Ecklandville. We had to hit Ecklandville after Hinch, after leaving.
All in one day.
Now, was Ecklandville originally planned, or was that an addition, or was everybody just not really moving as quickly that morning, or?
No, it was planned, but they decided they wanted to do a little bit extra. So they said, hey, if you guys can hang around for a little bit longer.
Okay.
So they kind of shifted some plans. Instead of doing like Ecklandville and then Hinch, it was like vice versa. And yeah.
Cheers, Anthony. It's good to see you. Anthony is going on later tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you check out his stream. And cheers to 1090. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. You joined it actually at a good time because I've heard about some of the tales of your experience at Ecklandville. Ecklandville makes the Dunville's brand. And Ecklandville, you guys got to do some interesting stuff. Hey, Cool Running, here's fellow Irishman. And Cool Running is, remind me, Cool Running, I think you're from around the Belfast area. So these guys are just about to tell me about these tales at Ecklandville.
So the bus stops at the entrance, and Jarlath Watson, who some of you probably know who Jarlath is, greets us at the end of the lane, invites us to walk up the lane, passing the barley fields on our left. The beautiful house comes into view on the right. And Jarlath is so incredibly engaging, but we had no idea what we were in store for when we got there. I mean, it kind of did the tour of their actual functioning distillery, but then took us into the warehouse, and that's where things just unbelievable. Tapping casks that they hadn't tapped. We got to taste their own single pot still at 6 years that they're going to release, they think, when it's 7 years old. So that hadn't been done before.
You guys really got to try things that probably some of the staff there has never even tried. That's amazing.
Yeah, Seamus, who's their sort of mix master and brand ambassador, was as excited as we were. He was just getting ready to sharing it with us. And Graham, the master distiller, talked us through everything. I still get excited thinking about that one.
I remember seeing the pictures where they took you back into these warehouses, and you're literally standing over the cask while they're pulling the bung out and
straight from the barrel.
Yep.
Wow. So you got to see a few other things at Ecklandville.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's quite the owner has quite the collection of tanks and Mini Coopers and sports cars, and it's just got a very eclectic collection of motorcycles, all sorts of vehicles and stuff. A lot of military vehicles, and most of them are in running condition. In fact, they recently had a like an open house type thing, and they had brought out a lot of the vehicles were out in front of the big house, and so they have them out moving around. But like I think it was a Mini, or was it the Fiats? I don't remember what they were now. Might have been Minis, but they're in plastic tents to keep them clean, and so there was like an air-filled tent, like a little cocoon. So that was like a big warehouse just full of vehicles.
Wow.
So we might collect whiskey or other things, and he's collecting like tanks and Mini Coopers, and you're just like looking around. You're like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that tour was given by the owner.
Yeah, nothing about Ecklenville ever expected. You see the pictures and I'm like, he has a freaking tank.
Right. Yeah. And multiple, not just one. Multiple.
Cheers, Donald. Thank you for joining us tonight. You just joined. The guys are talking about they're just got to Ecklenville, and they got to tap casks that not even everybody at Ecklenville has ever touched. Nobody's ever had them. And they have a tank or two just sitting around, because not everybody. And
yeah.
Or
3 or 4 Mini Coopers in the corner.
Wow, Mini Coopers with 0 miles on them.
Yeah,
never been touched.
And then they also put on like a wonderful dinner too.
Right.
Yeah.
Dinner with cocktails, and they had live music. The band was then playing. I think it was a jazz band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it jazz?
It seemed a little,
folk jazz.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm going off the live videos that you guys continuously were feeding us.
We didn't want you to miss out.
Yeah. Just like live streaming. You guys should be here, but you're not.
Well, and then when we left, so other people joined the bus when we moved from place to place. We got Fanon O'Connor to join us on the bus for a few days. He joined us from Dublin up to Dundalk, and then he had to go back. He's working on a thesis for Irish whiskey.
Yes, he is.
So he begged out, but then Jarlath jumped on the bus to join us to go from Ecklenville to Belfast, and we didn't know.
Jarlath, who is Ecklenville.
Is Ecklenville, yeah. So he's on the bus.
Just said, you know what? You guys got this at the distillery. I'm going to jump in with these guys on a bus and go hang in Belfast for the night.
Right. But on the way, as the sun is setting over Strangford Lough, he pulls out their Morant rum finish. That's a whatever dollars, euros per bottle thing.
I believe last time, what was it 545
Maybe.
euro bottle?
Yeah. And he's pouring it for everybody in these little
plastic cups.
The little
Plastic
Swiss and
cups.
thick cups is what it looked like you guys had that we used to get in grade school with the fluoride.
Yep. Yep, that's
For
exactly
over $500. What was that? 18, 20 year rum
I
cask?
think it's 18, but I'm not
I think
sure.
it's an 18-year. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is post Anthony's pub day.
Right.
You're on the bus, second distillery. Even with all the food, it's just like, and you're in a plastic cup of something that's incredible, and you're doing your best.
Yeah,
I'm not turning that down. I have to admit.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, it's an 18. Yeah. So then we get to Belfast that night, and
Cheers, Jake. So you get to Belfast, and then you go to Duke of York, I'm assuming?
No, because we actually were across the street from, what's the name of the pub across the street from the Europa, Jeff?
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank right now.
I can't remember. But it was so late. We just went there because it was too far to walk to go to Duke of York that night. We saved that for the
Okay, so how long did Jarlath and Barry keep you in the pub that night?
Oh, that was another.
So that was something I found very interesting.
Cheers, Trev. Thank you for stopping. If you guys aren't subscribed to Bourbon Wrench, make sure you do. It is a hoot. I just joined his Patreon, actually.
I was surprised by how early things closed over there. Like
they do close very early.
Like 11 o'clock, they're done. They're kicking people out. We're done serving. And I also found out from, I think it was Lauren, that they actually have like different licenses. So you can, there's like a late license. You got to pay more for your license if you want us to be open later.
Yes.
So there just happened that the area that we were in, it wasn't a late pub. They're like 11 o'clock. This is early. What are we going to do now?
Right.
I learned that during my first trip over there in 2016 because our hotel was down the street from one of those ones that had the license to stay open real late. Won't do that again. But
yeah, so our first night, what we decided to do after that was went around to the corner and had pizza. We went to a pizza place, waited in line, and we just stood out on the street shooting the shit, eating pizza with Jarlath and Fanon, and because Fanon was still there.
Okay.
I thought he'd gone home by then. No, okay.
Yeah.
It's just all a blur for Bryan after Sheehy's pub.
And some people have mentioned it's the Crown Pub is what it is. Was the name of the
okay, the Crown Pub.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I took a couple of funny pictures, with everybody standing around eating pizza on the street. And
I remember that. Yeah.
So the next day was, I think, what Barry and Anthony had built this whole thing up to be.
Right.
Which was Bushmills did a lock-in, or Barry did a lock-in with Bushmills with Alex Thomas and Lauren McMullen back in January, maybe? January, February? It was cold.
So for anybody in chat who doesn't know, Alex Thomas is the new master blender at Bushmills, and Lauren McMullen is the brand ambassador extraordinaire. I think we all love her pieces.
Yep.
So we went up to Bushmills. We were kind of expecting it to be over the top, but they blew us away. Just blew us away.
Yeah.
You get a tour. You were split into two groups. You either got to do a Bushmills tour with Alex Thomas, or you get to do a Bushmills tour with Lauren McMullen. I mean,
now, did they bring you all back together when you were literally standing on the in the Giants Causeway, standing on the rocks, doing a toast?
You missed like a whole part.
Yeah. You just blew past the whole time.
So we ate lunch in like 20 minutes, and then they took us down into this tasting room that it was one of their private tasting rooms, right?
1628 room, right?
Right. And we were all there, and
23 room.
We went through multiple different grams and of things that they were either releasing or going to release, and it was another incredible experience that they made for us.
Yeah, that tasting.
You all didn't share pictures of that part.
Well, that tasting was the Pomerol and Vermouth cask.
Yeah, before they were released.
So I heard about that. So you got to try the two Causeway releases before they were ever released.
Yep.
Right.
Wow.
Even before that,
know, Jeff.
when we were on the tour, they took us to meet the two Master Coopers, father and son.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And that's where they told us and had us sign Whiskey Bus casks that we are going to get as Whiskey Bus members once they deem that they are ready to be released.
So however many years it takes that they decide those casks are ready, you guys are all going to get a bottle from those casks.
I think as many as we want until they're gone. So, yeah.
Wow.
I guess for the bourbon guys or the gals that are watching, just to think if you were at it's not the same thing as Buffalo Trace, but if you were at that kind of distillery and you were able to have these intimate tastings, see what's the future is, and then come back and be able to buy some of these bottles or know what's coming, and then just to have that personalization, and then you're signing a cask that you're going to get to taste. I mean, it's not the same thing, but I mean, just to think of that kind of experience you could have. So
that's pretty amazing that you guys got to do that.
Yeah.
And they threw it in. They included it with
it was totally unexpected. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Unexpected. And then Stacy,
before we get to that, John wants to know, is the Pomerol a buy? So buy or pass on the Pomerol?
I bought them both.
Well,
You buy everything though.
that tells you nothing. So
Yeah. So I actually liked the Palmer Ale better than the vermouth. So, but Carolyn just mentioned she liked the vermouth better. So
I
think
like
they're
the
both
vermouth better myself.
I like the vermouth better. Oh, my lights went
Oh, that's a good suggestion, James, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a sample of the Palm Roll, and I do like the vermouth. I think just a little better. That being said, I do think it's worth a buy because it's really rare. I can't think of another whiskey that's done in that cask.
Yeah, I think I ended up with 2 of the Palm Rolls because I got one at the
Here's Beyond the Road. Thank you for joining tonight.
And then later on, ended up ordering like a bundle from Irish Malts. It was, you got both for a little bit of a discount.
Okay. So when you guys did finally get out to the Giant's Causeway, standing on the Giant's Causeway, this epic spot, gorgeous view in Ireland, and you have master blender Alex Thomas, you got Lauren McMullen standing there pouring your drinks.
Yep.
What were you pouring? What were you drinking?
Straight Blackbush.
Blackbush.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of wondered.
You have to say
Lauren is a huge fan of Blackbush, so you got
to say Bushmills. It's like calling Beetlejuice. You have to say Bushmills 3 times in a row, and then there you go. And then Lauren magically pulls a bottle out by fishing line. So
she pulled the bottle out from the rocks.
Yes. Yes.
At the causeway.
Right.
That I think your entire time seeing that moment, I'm like, that all worth it right there.
Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then finally that night is where we end up at Duke of York Harp Bar, and Lauren came with us, and Jarlath was there, and just incredible.
All right, so I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Because actually, we're not even done. Didn't you visit another distillery, or was Bushmills the last one?
Nope, Bredeman on the way back.
Some of us did.
I didn't make it.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, you two didn't make it for 2 entirely different reasons.
But there was also on the drive back from Bushmills, we got stopped so that Limavady could jump on the bus, share us their whiskey, and jump back off the bus.
Yeah.
So the brand Limavady literally jumped on your bus in Bushmills for the drive back to Belfast.
No, we met him in a town. I don't remember which town.
Oh, you met him in a town? Okay.
Yeah. En route, we just pulled off into a little
said, "Hey,
town.
You look thirsty.
Yeah.
Here's our whiskey."
Yeah.
Yep.
Gave us a tasting of that, and then we continued on back down to Belfast.
So I'm going to ask, since we're quickly running out of time, what was your favorite distillery that you visited, each of you, on this whole trip? Because this trip is amazing.
I'm going to go with, because their whiskey just hits me right and the way they did it, I'm going to go with Ecklandville. That was my favorite. But there was none that weren't great. I just loved Ecklandville.
I think the Bushmill experience is something that just is not comparable. And I mean, again, Ecklandville.
Cheers, John.
Just again, having that ability to just take right from the barrel and try something and have it a personal, intimate experience, and get to know the people behind the brands. I just don't think it doesn't happen a lot in the U.S. So.
No.
Jeff?
Like my whiskeys, I can't pick a favorite. There were just so many awesome things, and each one was kind of unique and special. And I mean, I do have some favorites. I mean, probably, Ecklandville and Bushmills, even Hinch a little bit, just because of the nice distillery. And plus, for me, this is my first time in the Northern Ireland. So I've done a lot of the distilleries in the Republic before. So most of those were all just like, it's my second or third time that I've been to them. But everything in the north was new to me. So, I don't have a favorite, but definitely Ecklandville and Bushmill stood out as pretty special. Even Bredeman, though, because at Redeeming, we got a cask there too.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a cask at Redeeming as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah. So for those of you who might not know, Redeeming makes short cross. Okay. So before my last question, which you thought that one was tough, I'm going to post a link. So if you're enjoying hearing about, the latest in Irish whiskey, if you have any interest in maybe going on the next whiskey bus trip, our friend from Cork, Barry Chandler, has a stream coming up here at 7:00 called the Shabeen, and it's going to be all information about Irish whiskey, the latest information, latest releases, and just kind of hanging out to chat. So I will put the link in chat. Tell him I sent you if you want to go over and check him out. As soon as I turn it all the way down on my phone. Rookie mistake right there. So last question of the night. What was your favorite whiskey? You're trying all this stuff that no one has ever tried. Some of it, and some people may never ever try. May end up going into a blend.
I gotta say that's even a tougher call because just with even the planned / scheduled whiskeys, there were over 60, plus whatever else we tried at any of the pubs. I mean, I tried to any pub that I found that had something that I hadn't tried before or that I had a bottle of and hadn't opened. I tried to try them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I must have had at least 100 whiskeys, and for me to say which one's my favorite.
Hang it, Izzy. You won't get a discount. In fact, he might charge more. I'm kidding.
Oh.
Favorite child.
Tony, you got an answer?
I'm just again looking through my pictures. I mean, I remembered some of the ones at Ecklandville, and there was a 21-year-old Dunville, the Paulo Cortado. I really liked a lot.
Yep.
So I mean that it's not my favorite, but that's a memorable one. I don't have one. I mean, again, having some of these different drinks with just people, like just making memories with people. But that's one. Gold Spot. Not really, but I mean it's good, but it's not my most favorite.
It's good until you've been backstage at Bushmills drinking out of a cask.
Right. So it's just hard. So I mean it's kind of a long-winded answer.
All right. So how many bottles did you end up bringing back?
Mine, I brought 19, and I'm gonna pale in comparison to at least one of these two guys.
It wasn't me. It's Jeff.
I only brought back 8 bottles with me, or 9 bottles.
How many did you have shipped?
How many did you get shipped?
All right, I'm going to tell you, Jeff, and I'm going to tell you the same thing
40...
I told you before. What was the name of the container ship you used to get back over?
The other 42 bottles showed up like a month later.
And I don't blame you. Honestly, had I been there and that kind of experience, same thing.
Yeah, it was kind of because we knew we could ship stuff home. So it took a lot of pressure off of like, how am I going to fit this all in my luggage? How am I going to do it all? I'm just like, buying bottles. Here you go, Anthony. Buying bottles. Here you go, Anthony.
Right.
Just keep dropping off bottles.
Yeah. Again, to go on that kind of trip and have that ability. I mean, you've went on other trips to Kentucky or Scotland. I mean, to have that extra safety net to do that, and not worry about buying another piece of luggage. I mean, and then at least through the Dublin airport, if you use the right app, you could buy a couple extra bottles and pick them up after you get through customs. So, I mean, that's where I got my gold spot, and I got it for Cullen 14. Just, I mean, there's stuff I can't get anywhere where I live. So I'm like, I mean, little things like that, and then just being able to go to the distillery and go into the shop right after you do your tour and talking to people. I mean, all those little things that I can take for granted. I don't think we get that accessibility compared to some of the things in the U.S. or even in Scotland when I've been there. Just to have that ability, it just made things so much easier. Yes, you bought more, but it helped things a lot in the stress level. So
it encourages the support of the Irish economy.
Right.
Yes.
Big time over.
Yeah, there was
Well,
a
thank
spike in
you.
August, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for everybody in chat tonight. It's 7:00. I posted the link up above in chat. If you want to follow that over to the Shabeen, check out more about Irish whiskey news from our favorite friend from Cork. Then at 8:00, it's Bourbon Night is going live, I believe. 9:00 is Livewire Whiskey. These are all Eastern Standard times. And then at midnight, check out Anthony at Bourbon Neophyte. So slaunch you all. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Thank you, Stacy. Sláinte.